What's good? What's good, guys? How are you all doing? What's going on? Can you guys hear me okay? Alright, yeah, we'll take a look at everything. No need to stress. Yeah, we'll take a look at Hex today. We'll take a look at Algo, XRP. Zen Insight says, I'm tired, boss. That's hilarious. Alright, yeah, so this is XRP right here. As you guys can see, this does look like a head and shoulders pattern. However, I do think that it is a fake out. Now, you tend to see these a lot in crypto. I think that chop around this region would be expected. But then ultimately, we should see reversion of this trend. That's what I'm thinking here. Now, if we have daily closure below this low at $1.73, so now if XRP were to come down to $1.73 around this blue region, it wouldn't really be considered bearish, right? It would just be chop within this range. As you guys can see, we've come down to this blue zone about 6 times now. So coming down to it a 7th time, it wouldn't be something out of the ordinary. Now, this is your neckline of your head and shoulders pattern. And usually when the market goes below this neckline or even comes back down to the neckline, people go max short. And then you tend to see a short squeeze in the opposing direction. Now, we can take a look at NVIDIA for an example. Like, if we go over here, take a look at NVIDIA, it did the exact same thing back in 2023. Here was your head and shoulders. And throughout this whole entire time, you had investors panicking. As soon as we dipped below this neckline, people went max short, and then all of a sudden, we see the nice pop-up from there. So that's what I'm thinking here with XRP. We definitely don't want to see any daily closures below that blue region that I marked out, like right over here. We don't want to see any daily closures below this low at $1.74. Because then that would open us up to a larger ABC correction. But in my opinion, and from my experience, I do think that this is a head and shoulders fake out. Now, taking a look at XRP on the full chart over here, I think that, let me just see here. Let me just go on a better chart. Yeah, so this is just likely your chop before we see a nice push to the upside. But like I said, don't want to see a daily close below $1.87 to $1.77 region. So this low and this 88.6% fib. That's what we don't want to see. But everything looks normal considering we are just consolidating at around the previous highs. This just looks like a reaccumulation before continuation. Right here. So yeah, it's looking good so far. As long as these lows hold support right here, we should be okay for XRP. Now, excuse me, but yeah, I think that when we do break out of this reaccumulation range, it's likely to take us to the all-time high and above, likely taking us above $5. So yeah, this is XRP. DXY is also still below the 200-day, so that's pretty good. Is ETH a buy? Yeah, ETH is a buy. Let me see here. Yeah, we'll take a look at KDA, we'll take a look at Cake. And let's take a look at cake over here. So this is cake right here. So we should bottom out around this region. We did hit the 78.6% fib. If we lose the 786 at $1.43, then it's likely we would have to reevaluate this macro count and we would come back to $1.13. But so far, we have dipped into this oversold region here when we just take a look at it through the fibs. And then we can even see on the RSI, we have bullish divergence here on the 30-minute. On the 4-hour, let me check here. The 4-hour, we've just dipped into this oversold territory. Now, you see when we were back at it over here, before we had this push up, we're back at it again over here. But yeah, around this region, I really like this bullish divergence that's forming here on cake. Like around here. So yeah, it looks good around this region for a bottom to come in. Mainly would want to look for this 143 level to hold, and then we would be targeting this 786 as our interim point of interest at 281. You can take a look at Bitcoin, and then what we're going to do is take a look at the US stock market. Okay, so this is Bitcoin over here. We're just consolidating on the 50% fib, but if Bitcoin were to come down here to around 72,000, then it's very unlikely that altcoins would make a significant new low. Altcoins would likely just, it would come down a bit, but it would likely manifest into a wick because I would be expecting a bounce to come in if we did come down to around this region. A nice bounce to come in. So a move like this, if it were to do this on Bitcoin, it would likely just manifest into a wick on your favorite altcoin. Like I said, guys, these wicks in crypto, it's not something out of the ordinary. Like this is a 10% wick, right? This is a 3% wick. Like you see these wicks all the time, but on the high time frame, it just looks like a blip on the radar, right? Looking back on it in hindsight. So I think most of the downside move is already finished. If this is not the bottom here, let's take a look at this RSI. You see how we have bullish divergence forming here? So if this is not the bottom right here, and we don't get 4-hour closure back above 79,322, then it's likely just going to come to around this region, and we would still be forming that bullish divergence on the 4-hour. So that's what I'm thinking here, right? So a move like this would likely just manifest into a wick on your favorite altcoin, and then on XRP it would likely just be a wick down to this lower region right here. Yeah. So Michael is asking, does it look pretty good though so far? Yeah, the market structure, it looks fine with XRP. PulseX, okay, we'll take a look at PulseX next. I know there's a lot of PulseChain people in this chat. But before we touch on PulseX, I want to take a look at some important charts such as the DXY, S&P 500, NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000. Now, I think those are big players when it comes to determining where we are headed next. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Russell 2000 over here. So I'm just trying to find it here. Okay. Okay, yeah, so this is the Russell 2000 over here. It's just bottoming out within this blue region. Just finishing up this wave 5 of your C wave to the downside. Okay, so it's likely we're going to see wicks into this blue region, drives down into this blue region, with the possibility of hitting the 61.8% fib. Our invalidation level, our bullish invalidation level would be to go below the 618. So if we get a daily close below that 618, that would be bullish invalidation, but so far this looks like a nice wave 2 that's forming. So this is what I expect on the Russell 2000. 3-wave move down from 2021. Same thing as the crypto market. A 3-wave move up, but we have yet to see this wave 3 of our C wave to the upside. Okay, so this is the Russell 2000. It should be bottoming out very soon, considering the daily RSI is in oversold territory. It hasn't been this low since March 2023, March to October 2023, before we blasted off, right? So you can see the daily RSI here. You see how it's in oversold territory? So as we chop around at the lows and altcoins slightly make new lower lows, you're going to have a lot of people panicking around this region. But you mainly want to be taking a look at the Russell 2000. See if we can get a bounce to come in within this blue region. I think we should get a bounce. And we shouldn't see... And in order for our bullish bias to remain intact, we wouldn't want to see a move below 1950. But so far, this looks good. We can take a look at the DXY now. Okay, so the DXY is now consolidating at the 618. On the daily time frame, it's currently below it. So DXY, one thing to keep in mind is that it is below the 200-day moving average. Let me just search it up here. Yeah, so you see how we're below this 200-day moving average? So I feel like a lot of things are coming together. We have the DXY below the 200. Russell 2000 daily RSI is printing oversold. Okay? Oversold right here. DXY below the 200-day moving average. And then we can also take a look at ES. Or sorry, we'll take a look at NQ first. So I would say this wave count is invalidated, but what I would be expecting here, as long as this structure holds right here, as long as these lows hold, that's what I want to see. And then if we just take a look at this structure, like this actually could be an ending diagonal right here. Let me see. Like a expanding diagonal, right? See how this plays out. But if we were to just take a look at this structure right here on NQ, looks like most of the move is done. Let me see here. Okay, so we did hit the 1.786 over here, right over here on NQ. That's something to be very mindful of. Yeah, so I'm thinking this could be a ending diagonal where the waves are overlapping each other, but we're missing a fifth wave to the upside. It doesn't look like a blow off top has occurred yet. I would want to see one more push up here, but we can take a look here at this RSI, similar to what we did on the Russell 2000. And as you guys can see, this RSI is in oversold territory. On the daily time frame, we've actually just reached into oversold territory here. Okay, so the DXY below the 200, Russell 2000 RSI in oversold territory, and also NQ as well. We also have a bullish wave count for our bias. So let's see. Okay, so this is NQ right here. Okay, and we're on the 618 as well, so that's something that's really good for bulls. Okay, you see how we're on the 618 right here? And then daily RSI, or 3 hour to 4 hour RSI is printing bullish divergence. Notice how we have a higher low here, but we have consecutive lower lows printing. And then on the daily RSI, we see that it's dipped into oversold territory right here. Yeah, so that's NQ. Yeah, we'll take a look at all these coins, guys. No need to worry. We're just going to be taking a look at the most important assets that that will be driving the next move in the market. No need to worry, guys. We'll take a look at all these coins, so you don't have to worry. Let's so we took a look at the Russell 2000. We're just gonna look at it one more time. We're gonna do a little bit of an overview. The daily RSI is in oversold territory right here. The last time it's been this low was March 2023 and October 2023, before we had this huge push to the upside. Now, we're very close to the 61.8% fib. I don't want to see that level get lost. That's sitting right there at 1950. Now, this does look like an ABC correction down. We have a perfect, well, we did have a perfect one-to-one extension, but it looks like it's going towards this 1.236. Regardless, this still does look like an ABC correction in a wave 2 after we had a leading diagonal for your wave 1. So what I would be expecting is a blow-off top to occur right here before it's all over. Now, that would likely just be deviation above this macro range that we've been in since March 2021. This would be what's called your upthrust after distribution. As you guys can see, we just came down to the median of this Wyckoff range. Now, when we take a look at NQ, we see that the daily RSIs also dipped into oversold territory, and we also have an ABC correction on our hands. You see? Dipped into oversold territory right here. And this is where everyone panics. Everyone becomes greedy up here. Everyone panics over here. So taking a look at NQ, you can see that we have hit the 61.8% fib, a perfect flat pattern on our hands. Okay, and we also came down to the 1.786 when we use our trend-based fib. Okay, you see this 1.786 right here at 19,160? That's what I see. So be looking for a bottom to come in here on NQ and the Russell 2000. We'll take a look at ES, or Dow Jones. Or sorry, ES, S&P 500. Let me see here. So very similar structure, right? Very similar structure on ES. An extended fifth wave, it looks like, within this C wave. And then taking a look at this RSI on the daily, we've also dipped into oversold territory, even on the 4 hour over here. You guys see? Even on the 4 hour. Actually, let me see how low this has gotten. I see, okay. Yeah, so this looks like your A, B, and your C. Okay, invalidation level would be a daily close below the 702 at 54.35. Okay, look at the stock RSI on the 4 hour. It's at the lows over here. We'll check it out on the daily. Daily, it's also at the lows here, the stock RSI. So now when we pair the fact that the S&P 500 and the NQ, they're reaching into oversold territory along with the Russell. When we pair that information with the fact that the DXY is below the 200-day moving average, it looks like a bottom should be coming in around here. And we should be entering into risk-on territory. You see? As long as we're below the 200-day moving average on DXY, we should be okay. Right? I would be expecting... You can see how fast it moved down here. Now, I would be expecting around the $94 region to get hit, which would also be the 78.6% fib measured from the January 2021. So from this low up to this high, the 786 is there at 94. Let's go back to Bitcoin over here, and then we'll take a look at some of your coins. Yeah, so this is Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin right here. This is your ABC correction. Looks exactly like NQ and ES. It's exactly what it looks like. So as you guys can see, we are missing a fifth leg over here. Okay. See, we're very close to this low being in. I mean, like I said, if we did come down to around the $72,000 region, 74,000, 72,000, not only would you be touching the 618, but you'd also be tapping this this previous March resistance as support. Okay, so it would likely just come down in the form of a wick. Fifth wave targets would be taking a look at somewhere north of 120, 120K. Something like this. Around 134. Okay, so yeah, around 134 is what I'd be expecting. If we did come down to this level, we'll have to alter it, right? Wherever it bottoms out, but it likely should bottom out around this region. With NQ and ES, along with the Russell 2000. What's the chat saying? I wouldn't recommend to sell your coins, no. I wouldn't recommend to sell right now. But yeah, this is Bitcoin. Looks pretty good still. Okay. Let's take a look at Flare. Okay, so Flare is on the 88.6% fib over here. So it's still holding support. You know what I also noticed about Flare is that it looks like this is 5 waves down here within the C wave. Now, I know I put the inval just below the 786 here, but this inval would be on the weekly. So if we get weekly close below this 786, or sorry, below this inval, then yeah, it would be invalidated. However, what I would be expecting is a pop back up above the 786 here, considering we are on the 886. Okay, so I'd want to look for these lows to hold here on Flare. Okay, it's looking pretty good so far. 104 watchers, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people are sleeping. A lot of people gave up on the market, for sure. All right, let's take a look at RH ecosystem. Okay, so this is the RH ecosystem here. We'll take a look at PulseX. Now, there's two scenarios I see here on PulseX. The first scenario is that we're just finishing up this C wave, or this last leg down here of this larger B wave before we have that nice push to the upside. Or we have an impulsive move up from here as long as the 88.6% fib holds. So if 402822 holds, then I would be expecting an impulsive move up from here, where we finally have that expansion. However, if the 886 doesn't hold, then it's likely going to come down to the lower boundary of this macro pennant that we have here. Okay. In order to confirm the breakout on PulseX, I would want to see a move back above 405046 and 404639. For incentive token, we have the same thing. Let me check here. Yeah, so this is incentive token right here. Okay, so we have a 5-wave. So let's actually go all the way back to 2023 here. In 2023, what happened with incentive from the top? We had a 5-wave move down here. So we can consider this your A wave. But we still haven't had our B wave to the upside yet. It looks like we're finishing up this C wave of our larger B wave. So we had a 5-wave move up from these lows. So we can consider this your A. An ABC down for your B wave in the form of Wyckoff accumulation that we've been having for over a year. And then I would be expecting chop within this green region at these fib supports before we see a nice push to the upside. The alternate scenario would be that we lose the 61.8% fib on the daily at $1.35, and we would come down to $1.03 to 78 cents. That would be the worst case scenario. Okay, you see this blue region? That would be the worst case scenario on incentive. But so far, incentive token is looking good as it's just ranging here at the lows. PLS, same thing. And just see which chart I put it on here. Is it this one? Yeah, so this is PLS over here. We have reached the range lows. We have reached the macro range lows here. Okay, I would be expecting a move back to this point of control. So if we analyze the volume all the way from the start, right here, you see how the point of control is right over here, or the most traded volume. So I would be expecting a push back to this level here, around this region. Okay. Also, something I noticed on PLS is that we swept this low. You see this low that got swept? So, and then we also have bullish divergence on the daily RSI. So you see, you have lower lows or higher lows on the RSI, but lower lows on the price. So as long as these lows can hold here, then I would be expecting a push back up into this supply at around 406 to 4066. That's what I'd be expecting. So PulseChain ecosystem is actually holding up pretty well. Okay, this is flare. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What's up, E-Rat? How you doing, bro? Okay, let's take a look at H-bar. We'll take a look at the ISO coins. We'll take a look at Algo XLM. This is Flare so far. As you guys can see, Flare is still on the 88.6% fib. Let's go back to XRP and then we'll take a quick look at H-bar. Okay, XRP is still looking fine. Right here. That's what I'd be expecting on XRP. Let's go take a look at H-bar. So yep, just chop at the lows here, guys. Just chop at the lows. Okay, yeah, so this is H-bar. I still would be expecting 77 cents to $1 to get hit, which would also be this macro resistance that we have here. Okay, now the good news is that we're just consolidating above these highs. That's the good news. You can even place it like this, depending on how you look at it. You could place it like this. See how many times we use this diagonal trend line as resistance? 4 times, and now we're using it as support here. Okay, so yeah, this is H-bar, just chop here at the lows. So for Bitcoin, we'll take a look here. Yeah, so Bitcoin, it looks a lot like. First of all, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that, Jose. But yeah, so Bitcoin, it just looks like a wave four, very much like ES and NQ. Like NQ, it looks exactly like this structure, this A, B, C correction in the form of a flat pattern. It's either we bottomed out here or we come down just a little bit lower to around 72, 74,000. Now, we wouldn't only be tapping the 61.8% fib, but we would also be tapping this March high resistance as support. Now, if Bitcoin were to come down this little bit over here, I don't think it's actually much of a drop. So from here down to the 618, it's about 9%. Now, this, if we were to come down like that, it would likely just manifest into in the form of a wick on your favorite altcoin. So in layman's terms, that would just mean chop at the lows on altcoins while Bitcoin finishes up over here. Very similar structure to that of NQ. Take a look at SQQ over here. Okay, it looks like it gapped up higher here. So we'll see how this plays out. But yeah. But yeah, this is Bitcoin. It's looking okay. We also have bullish divergence forming on the RSI. You see how it's forming over here? Now, in order to confirm the bottom is in, I would want to see an impulsive move up from here in a 5-wave move. I'd want to see a move back above this trend line right here at 90,644. If we can get an impulsive move back above it and then get a 4-hour close above it, then we should be good to go. But let's not rule out the possibility of a scenario in which we chop down here a little bit more down to around the 618, and I feel like it looks like the RSI would still print that bullish divergence even if the price were to come down a little bit more here. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. Yeah, bro. Oh, BCH, my bad. I'm looking at it, looking at the questions too quick. Alright, let's take a look at BCH. So, I mean, BCH is still holding our support here. It's actually holding up really well. So, yeah, this is BCH right here. Still looking okay. I mean, worst case scenario would be that we flush down like that and make a little bit of a newer low. But from what I've seen in the market, when you have this structure and then a slam back down to the lows, you tend to have continuation higher. Right? This is where the crash is coming from, and then this is your bottoming structure. So you form something like this, right? Everyone gets excited with this pump, and then what do? We slam back down to the lows, and then it slowly grinds its way back up. And then invalidation would be to see this structural support get lost, right? So if we zoom in here, It's very similar, you see? Very similar. So I'd want to see this structural support hold. Otherwise we'd come down just a little bit. I'm thinking this is an extension of the first wave on Bitcoin Cash. Either that or it's an A wave. So for the next targets on Bitcoin Cash, we would be looking at 985, 1400, and 2000. We'll see how the waves play out, and we'll get more accurate targets as the market progresses. But so far, BCH is holding here as support. Okay, this is your sideways range. Just looks like reaccumulation at the highs. Yeah, that's BCH. So Tiger Maple is saying, Pip, I'm scared. No need to be scared. Just remember, when most of the market is scared, which we see right now, that's when you should be greedy, right? That's when you should be bullish, because most of the market is pretty bearish here, like the sentiment out there. Not only is the sentiment bearish, but we can see the daily RSI on ES, NQ, Russell 2000, they've all dipped into oversold territory. Bitcoin is also very close to bottoming, considering it's very close. It's very near the 61.8% fib, and we also have bullish divergence forming on the 4-hour time frame. So this is the region. This is the region where most people give up. A lot of people get scared here, but I want to assure you that it's actually closer to being finished than it is to just starting in regards to the correction. So we'll take a look at Link over here. Thank you so much for that super chat. Really appreciate it. We'll take a look at 1inch as well, because I know I said I would take a look at it in the last live stream along with AVAX. So yeah, we'll take a look. We'll take a look for sure. CRV, yep, no problem. ETH, yeah. All right, let's take a look at Link, and then we'll take a look at ETH. Looks like a flat pattern right here. Okay, it's on the 70.2% fib Link. So now look at this over here. I want to show you this structure. You see this running flat over here? You see in the bottom left, or the bottom left corner? You see how this B wave sweeps the high of your A wave? but this C wave fails to terminate below this low. It actually just comes down to around the 78.6% fib, 88.6% fib region. It's a very deep C wave, but it doesn't terminate below the A. So that's what I'm thinking here for Link, is that this could potentially be a running flat. Now, it's actually good that we had this correction here, because it just means that the expansion will be higher. That would just mean that this is a wave 1 and this is a wave 2. Our wave 3 should be really high up there, as long as these lows hold. Okay. Okay, so we should see a bottom come in. I'm thinking this is a running flat. Something like this. And remember, we'll alter the waves as the price develops so we can get more accurate wave 5 targets. But what you'd want to do is take a fib from this all-time high down to the low and take a look at all of the major fibs on the linear scale. Okay? Something like this. Okay, boom. There's your running flat. Now, for a flat, you're going to see a 335, and that's exactly what we see. Your ABC down within your A wave. This is your ABC up. And then you have a 5-wave move down right here. You see we're finishing up this 5th wave here. It could be already done over here off the 702. But let's not rule out a little bit more downside. like around here. But yeah, that's Link. So, Keaton is asking, on your last stream you mentioned XMR. What do you like about it? Because you held it for so much crypto cycles. So now the reason I like XMR is because it's not like it doesn't move. It hasn't been moving too fast. So it allows us the opportunity to accumulate good. Like it doesn't. It's not very volatile right now. We also have a perfect cup and handle on XMR. And I also just like the fundamentals of it. Fundamentals are pretty good. It's just still ranging here. A coin like XMR, I wouldn't recommend to buy it to sell it within this cycle, but have it as a long-term investment instead. As you guys can see, this is a perfect cup and handle. Now, with the cup and handle pattern, the handle usually comes down to the 50% fib, which you guys can see we did just that, and then we see the breakout. Okay, so it's very unlikely like looking at whenever you see that a coin is going to come down, you also have to look at the rest of the market. Would it make sense for that coin to go down if the rest of the market is bullish, right? Or would it make sense for the coin to go up if the rest of the market is bearish? You have to always ask yourself these types of questions. Look at the market as a whole and see what it's doing. But yeah, perfect cup and handle on XMR. Right here. Let's go back to XRP here. Take a look at some more of your coins. Alright, this is XRP. So now when we take a look at the market cap chart of XRP, and we take a fib from this sign of strength here down to this last point of support, you see how we perfectly came up to that 2.618, and then we saw the correction from there? Now, the 3 points, so now we do have a proven method to find a potential top here. Doing it like this, when we take a fib on the market cap chart from this low down to this, from this high down to this low. So the 3.618 would be around the $7.50 to $8 region, and this 4.236 at 770 billion, that would be around 13 bucks. Yeah, looks pretty good so far. Yeah, not every altcoin will do five waves up. Some will only do 3 for sure, definitely. All right, let's take a look. Let's see here. So much coins here. Let's take a look at ETH. I think that's very important to watch. Okay, so it came down to our 1.886 extension at 1840. So we'll see how this region plays out over here. This does look like a spring in Wyckoff reaccumulation. Very similar crashing structure to that of NQ. Okay, it hit this 786 here. You see how we have 5 waves down here on ETH? You guys see that? So we're down about 60% from these highs over here back in March. And we've been accumulating for almost a year now. So we're about 2 days away from this being a year of reaccumulation. So we have time-based capitulation, and then we also have price-based capitulation on ETH. Okay, so ETH has come down to the 70.2% fib. When we take a fib from our June 2022 low up to our March high, you see how we came down to the 702 over here? Yeah, so I do think that this looks a lot like the Russell 2000. You see with the Russell 2000, we also came down to the median as well, like around this region. So this is a ending expanding diagonal. This is what it looks like. Right here. Yeah, I'll put it right here. You see we're missing this fifth wave up. You see how deep this fourth wave was? Or this leg before we had that last push up. The last push up in our ending expanding diagonal was the most explosive and the biggest wave of them all, right? This is what's called a blow off top, and notice how it expands here. It starts off with your A wave, and your B wave, look how deep this B wave comes down to before we start off this third leg, right? We see the exact same thing happening with ETH. You see how deep the B leg came? And then for the 5 waves within this C wave, they're overlapping each other. That's what I've noticed. It's just overlapping. What's up, KB? Welcome to the membership, bro. Okay, let's take a look at QNT. So every stream we do QNT. Okay, so we'll take a look at that next. But this is ETH. I just want this chart to be ingrained in your head, because let's not forget we did come down to the 702 here. Okay, so I would want to look for support to come in around this region. I would say worst case scenario we come down to 1560 at the 786, but that would be absolute worst case scenario, and it would likely just be deviation below this diagonal support. But yeah, let's take a look at QNT. Okay, so QNT still looks good. We'll go on the 3-day time frame. Going all the way back to 2018 for QNT, we had what's called a leading diagonal. So this is the weekly actually. So going back to 2019, we had a leading diagonal. Notice how the waves are overlapping here, and then you have a wave 5 throw over for your wave wave 1 termination. Then you come down for an ABC correction down to around the 61.8% fib for your bear trap before we enter into a third leg, which takes us to the 1.236 extension. Okay, so taking a fib from the bottom of our wave 1 to the top of our wave 1 and down to the bottom of our wave 2, you guys can see that we perfectly came up to the 1.236 extension. Then we had an ABC correction. 5-wave move down in your A, 3 up in your B, and then a 5-wave move to the downside within a diagonal formation. Now this 5th wave is already done, and we're coming up for our... One scenario suggests that this 5th wave is already done in our C wave, and we're coming up for a wave 3 of 3 to the upside. Okay. The second scenario states that we lose $65, 65.52 on the weekly or the daily, and we come down to around $50, and then we see the spring up from there. So these two green regions is where I'd be expecting a bottom to come in. Either the bottom comes in right now, or we see a little bit lower, but it's very likely that patience will pay off on this coin, considering we've just been going sideways for almost 5 years now, almost 4 years. Yeah, but what you mainly want to do on QNT is just take a fib from the all-time high down to the lowest recorded price after that high. So from this high down to this low. Okay, so these are all your TP targets for QNT. CRV. This is CRV. Okay, so let me see here. Sorry guys, my mouse died. So I might have to end the stream. I don't have an extra mouse right now, but we'll definitely start up this stream later today again. But I just wanted to come on here to say that most of the market is in oversold territory. ES and NQ are both oversold on the daily RSI. DXY is still below the 200-day, and most of the altcoins are bottoming out within this region. So just stick to the high time frame. Don't panic, because all is well. Considering it's likely a bounce will come in. Don't forget that the DXY is below the 200-day moving average. Something to be very mindful of. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one later today. Sorry my mouse died, but I'll be starting this up very soon. Have a good one, guys.